Dispatch, Echo 7. I'll be out with that subject. Come here, man. Come here for a second. Come here. If you don't, you better stop, or I would. Come here. Come here. Stop. 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 Take your hands out your pocket. Take your hands out your pocket. If you don't stop, so I'm gonna tase you. I'm not playing with you. Take your hands out your pocket. Take your hands out your pocket. Take your hands out your pocket. Shots fired! Damn! Shots fired! Dispatch, I'm in! There's Echo 7, I'm in! I'm a Tyson. Dispatch, please tell my family I love them.
My name's Jay Thompson.
Echo 7 is back.
What's your name?
Quincy Smith, sir.
At the Frederick Douglass Academy in Harlem, there are two Monroe Doctrines. One was authored by President James Monroe and is taught in American history class. The other one is laid down by Dr. Lorraine Monroe, the school's principal. That Monroe Doctrine is a set of strict rules and a philosophy intended to prove that a cross-section of disadvantaged kids from New York's inner city can compete in a public school with some of the best students in America.
You have a class, Mr. Nixon? What, are you on vacation?
You can find her most mornings patrolling the hallway. Dr. Lorraine Monroe delivering what she calls her death stare that can prod the most sluggish students along.
Why are you so late? Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
It's called the Frederick Douglass Academy, but you won't find any ivy growing here. It's located in central Harlem in a large, bleak public school building surrounded by wire fencing. 80% of the students are African American, 20% Latino, and 75% of them are living below the poverty level. But when they walk through the doors every morning and file past Dr. Monroe, they're no longer poor kids from disadvantaged neighborhoods. They're Frederick Douglass scholars. Things are expected of them, and anything is possible.
The kind of education that we're giving kids doesn't depend on who their folks are or where they live.
So every student here is expected to go to college?
Absolutely every single one. There are no exceptions.
And not just any college?
Not just any college, but really prestigious ones. And we have convinced our kids that they can do it.
It is a public school run like a private academy, aspiring to offer an education that rivals what some wealthy families in New York pay $15,000 a year for at the finest private schools. Students must apply to get in, and only 1 in 6 are accepted. But grades are not the most important criteria. Some test above grade level, some below, but everyone has to show potential. And 75% of the students must come from Central Harlem. When the first class graduates next spring, Dr. Monroe wants to see a quarter of the students land coveted slots at Ivy League colleges, a figure some consider optimistic. How can you realistically compete, taking kids from very poor neighborhood?
You can realistically compete because, well, part of it is my personal background. I was raised in this community, so I know what sterling education is in New York City. I know that in Central Harlem, you can learn. I left the 9th grade knowing how to read, write, think, compute, speak Spanish, and lead. I know what can happen when the teacher is sterling. I know what happens when there are standards and children are held to them.
You're not your job. You're not how much money you have in the bank. Not the car you drive. Not the contents of your wallet. You're not your fucking khakis. You're the all-singing, all-dancing crap of the world.